Okay, so welcome everyone. Welcome to our Summer Accelerator Mastermind Program. I'm your host, 𝗵𝗂𝗍𝗂, your fellow online business and mindset coach. I'm really excited to have you guys here. We are on week 5, I can't believe, out of the 6-week program. So I'm really grateful that we made it more than half of the way there. And it's been phenomenal having you guys join us and check out the recordings and getting all of your feedback. And so today I'm really excited and honored that we have the pleasure of having my friend from a long time ago, Guinevere Stasio, who's here today, who is an expert on mastering money. And I know this is something that a lot of us women struggle with as female entrepreneurs, really learning how we can attract more of the money and income that we want in our lives. A lot of us are busy moms as well, and really feel more confident in actually asking for the sale and in pricing all of our courses and products that we have available. So I'm really excited to have Gwen here. We're going to pick her brain. Feel free to jump on, ask any questions, comment in the bottom of this post as well with any reflections or struggles that you have, because she can definitely respond to you guys and get those answered. So let's jump right into it. So Gwyneth, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and share just a little bit more about how you got started right now.
Yeah. Hi, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. This is one of my favorite things to do. As a generator, I love being asked to come on and come talk about the things that I'm super passionate about. And this is literally my life's work. I help women create mastery around money. So this is perfectly aligned. So like Michelle said, my name is Gwen. You can call me Gwen. And here's how I got where I am. It was a one pivotal moment in my life that literally turned on this light bulb for me and allowed me to see, like, it was like it opened a crack, like a door, right? And it's like dark, but then there's a light behind the door and you're like, what's going on back there?
Yes.
So I was working, I'm a doctor of audiology. So I was working in an ear, nose, and throat office. Oh. And I was pregnant. I went on maternity leave. And a week before I was coming back to work, my boss called me and he said that he was reducing my salary by $15,000. And he said, I'll see you in a week. And I was like,
yes.
You don't ever think these things are going to happen unless they've happened to you before, right?
Right.
So it was like this knee-jerk reaction of like, well, what the heck do I do? I've got a 6-week-old baby. I've got to do daycare. I'm not, it was that weird balance. And I think this is where most of us are in the world, is like not making enough money where the woman can come home and the spouse might be able to be the sole provider. Like there's a lot of households where we can't be there right now.
Exactly.
So there was like this, what am I going to do? And I got a peek into a world of network marketing. And I truly do believe that seeing women in this space, number one, making their own money and making a significant amount of money. Like I didn't know $100,000 months were possible.
Months, not even years.
Months. Like I didn't know that was even happening anywhere. Yeah. So like I said, it was like this little peek inside a door and I like pulled the door back open. I'm like, oh, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like we got to figure this out, right?
Yes.
So that's what got me looking at money. And the long or the short of the long is that I spent that next year figuring out how to make 15 grand back because we needed it as a family. And in about 6 months time, we were able to do that. And that just got my ball rolling of like, okay, there's something here.
Yes.
And so that's where it started.
So interesting, because you and I, we both started with the network marketing. And I really feel like sometimes network marketing is like the gateway to entrepreneurship for women, especially moms. And it gives you a glimpse of having your own online business, but still working with a brand, you know, and then from there, we kind of pivot and kind of add on to that with multiple streams. So I think that's amazing how we have that same similarity.
Yeah. It really was. I do believe network marketing is such a gateway for women to be able to see what's possible.
Yes, yes. So tell me, so you started there. So what was your next step after you discovered like the opportunity, the income opportunity within having a business online?
Yeah, so really interesting. I did really well with network marketing in the first couple of years, and I made a promise to myself, because my office was toxic. Obviously, my boss wasn't where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
But before that, I didn't know there were other options. So once I figured out that I could create my own business, I said, okay, listen, when I'm making the same amount in my network marketing than I am in the office, and it's consistent,
yes,
I'm going to leave. I'm going to come home and do this.
Yeah.
And that was a journey that took 3 years.
Yes.
But it was like this journey of, well, first of all, I figured out that, like, you know, I had a money mindset that wasn't set up for success. It was set up for failure.
Yes. Yes.
And so it was this journey of figuring out how do we change that? And how do you expand your mind to allow these new beliefs in? Because we've all carried beliefs from generations before us that probably served them at some point. But because trauma is 7 years deep, right? So like, if we think about, like, okay, so my parents and their parents, parents lived through the Great Depression, right? So like 1930s, literally didn't have food to put on the table, didn't have money.
Right.
So their parents were telling them, you have to eat everything on your plate. You know, portions are small. We don't have money. It doesn't grow on trees, because literally that was their life, right?
Yes. Yes.
But then because our parents lived through that, they took on those beliefs of their own, because they heard them repeatedly,
yes,
over and over and over.
Yes.
And so then our parents have us, and it's just this, like,
yes, they just passing the baton from generation to generation, the same beliefs, right? Not even thinking about it.
Exactly. Not intentionally. It just is what they grew up with. And unless you stop the pattern, like, unless you're conscious enough to know that it's there and then work on stopping the pattern, it just keeps going.
So how can women create awareness around what our current money mindsets are? Like, how do we know that we're not living in the best money mindset? How did you discover that?
Yeah, well, I started to see, well, first of all, the realization that, like, okay, I thought my salary was my salary, and I didn't know that there was an opportunity to even make what my salary was per month, right?
Yes.
So
yes,
awareness, looking around, being open to seeing what else is possible. But I think in order for us to realize what's actually going on, I do this really great visualization practice with a lot of my clients, and it is a worth story.
Okay.
So what I usually ask my clients to do is, like, think about a time in your childhood where you wanted something that you didn't get. So for me, the example is, and this is so silly, like, the thing is that we think these little stories have nothing to do with our money story, but they actually have everything to do with our money story.
Right.
I wanted these silly Adidas sandals. Do you remember the Adidas sandals?
Yeah. You just slide in?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They were black and white.
Yeah.
And they had to be Adidas because every other cool kid in the school was wearing Adidas.
Adidas, right.
Right? And so I told my parents I wanted them. They were like $40 at that point, which is really ridiculous. And my parents were like, no, you can't have that. And I asked and I asked and I asked, and I didn't get it. But what I did get were Walmart knockoff Adidas.
Oh, okay.
Which I definitely was not going to wear to school, because that was, like, even worse.
Worse, exactly. Right.
So when I go back in my childhood, I was not that old. Maybe that was 7th grade, right?
Yes.
And I believed that I was worthy of having those sandals, and I asked for them, but was told no over and over and over again. That started to create my worth story. And so what we do in this visualization practice is we go back to that girl or boy or whoever you're working with, right?
Yes.
Go back and see her.
Right.
Honor those feelings. Like, honor them, understand them. Like, they were warranted feelings.
Yes.
And then we get a chance to tell her that we don't need those feelings anymore. They don't serve us as adults.
Okay.
And we get a chance to show her, hey, look at everything I'm doing now. Look at how
Yes.
far you've come.
Wow.
Like this story,
That's amazing.
yeah, it really allows us to heal what I call frays in our timeline.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at a piece of rope, and it's like come undone at a certain point, and there's like little
Yes.
pieces, like those are the
Yes.
frays. Those
Yeah.
are the like stories that are like poking out and like kind of just hanging out there. We want to
Yes.
like wrap them back up in the rope and like heal them, because
Yes.
in our timeline it just gets to become this beautiful story of how far we've come and what we've accomplished and what we're proud of and the impact that we're making.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the money that we make is in there too, right? But it's
Yes.
all paid into everything else. So
Yes.
we get to go back and heal those phrases, and it
Okay.
just creates a new belief, a new story that women get to take with them about their worth.
So first is a healing that you have to do with your past self. And then from there, changing that paradigm to something brand new. And
Yeah.
then, so what's the next process? What's the next step?
Well,
Like, how would you even change that paradigm?
so that's a really good question. I think what happens to us is that we create this context for our life and for our business. It's like a container, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes what we have created is
Mm-hmm.
actually the thing that's keeping us stuck.
Mm.
Because we create this context that's so teeny tiny.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a really good example. You're a business owner and you want to make $10,000 a month.
Right.
So I'm going to launch my business. I'm going to launch my service or my product, and
Yes.
I'm going to make $10,000 a month this month.
Okay.
And then end of month comes and you don't make 10 grand.
Yes.
And what you start to do in your head is you see your failures to make 10 grand as evidence that you can't do that.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So the more that you set yourself up for that small context of failure, the more your body believes that you can't actually create that happening. So along that way, you don't create trust, because now you're seeing your failure as evidence that you can't.
So good. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So then your question of like, how do you heal that journey and how do you start to tell a different story? You have to create a bigger context. So I wrote this down because I have, if I could turn my computer and show you, I have like my context. I have literally an 8x11 sheet next to me that has like my written out context in it.
Okay.
I wrote down this little blip of my context. Hold on.
So what is context? What is that?
Like your belief system, your manifestations, your desires for your life.
Got it. Yeah.
So let me read you. Yes, Jojo.
Can I make myself a Canadian check?
Yes, you may. Okay, I wrote down, instead of like launching my business and making a $10,000 a month.
Right.
I wrote, I'm aligning with manifesting $10,000. And I'm creating a version of me that's allowing it to happen.
Yes.
So
it's just those simple little words makes a world of difference where you're feeling more empowered and instead of feeling so far away from it as well.
Yeah, and you can't fail in that.
Yes.
You can't, right? Like you don't, so there's no timestamp on that, right? So there's one huge difference.
Yes.
So now your context is huge. It could be tomorrow, it could be next year, it could be next month.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
But you're not creating it out of a lack. Like when we say like, I need to make $10,000 this month, and you're showing up in like this, I need for it to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I'm a failure and I can't pay my bill. Like the energy is different there.
Exactly. Just one thing I want to say about that. Just yesterday, one of my clients messaged me and she said, I need clients now, right now, with capital letters. She texted me, and then I'm just like, that just like, when we're in that energy of need, like I need clients like yesterday, I said, it's really rare that you're going to gain clients when you start from that place, so I had to just remind her our mindset behind that. It seems like the clients come from out of nowhere when when we're least expecting it,
Right.
and
Right.
the way we're working our business. So we had to clean that up. So she's not like, I need clients like right now. Like I need to have so many people.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I just thought about that when you shared.
And like along those same lines,
I have a popsicle.
sure, but do not bother me again. Sorry.
It's okay.
You know, you're like, I just need 10 minutes. And they're like, it's been 3 minutes, Mom. Okay. When you said that, so when we say, I'm creating a version of me that's allowing it to happen, when you just said like the clients come out of nowhere, they come out of the time where you're focusing on you. Like you're focusing on creating trust with yourself. You're focusing on creating or discovering your values and who you actually want to be as a business owner and as a person who makes just $10,000 at some point in time. Like you're allowing yourself to get really clear on that, and you're literally going into your life walking like you've already made $10,000, talking like you made, right? You're becoming that person.
Yes.
And then universe is like, here's a client.
I know. Exactly. Exactly. And I was just talking about this on week one. On week one and week one, I was talking about healing I was asking my clients to write forgiveness letters to the former version of themselves, to themselves, but also to other people, because sometimes that holds us back from making leaps and bounds in our business. And then we talked about how to start building ourselves back up by affirmations, but also writing out, I call it a self-image script, kind of like what you were talking about, the context, which is like creating a new version of you, like your ideal self. How would she show up? And what are her characteristics, but writing it out in the present tense. And then starting to embody some of those characteristics today. And just like what you said, once you start choosing a few of those traits and then you start showing up as her and really working on yourself, that's when out of the blue, these customers start reaching out and raising their hand saying, hey, I want to work from you, or tell me about that product. So
yes.
Yeah.
And I can give you a perfect example of that, Michelle. Again, these things we don't think are so big are actually pivotal turning points in our lives.
Right.
I went to a training in February, and we did a breathwork session. And in this breathwork session, I saw myself as a child wearing a yellow dress in a field, just like turning around and dancing around.
Oh, wow.
And from that point on, I was like, Gwen, your favorite color is yellow, and you literally own nothing in your closet that is yellow. Nothing.
Yes.
So I started to just fill my closet with yellow and just bring more of that into my life.
Yes.
People started to be like, I don't know what you're doing, Gwen, but like the energy that you have, I just feel it. Like, literally the way that I showed up for myself.
Right.
Like, honoring this version of me that I hadn't shown for whatever reason, right? Like maybe because nobody else is wearing yellow, and so I felt like I didn't want to call myself out or whatever the silly reason.
Right.
Like, those things are huge.
They're huge. It is. Right? And same for me, whenever I wear red, and red is like a color that I really like, but sometimes I feel it's a bit bold. But recently I changed my profile picture on like Instagram and all those to like a red scarf on my head. And then I got so many compliments, like, wow, it's like the energy from that profile picture. It's just like, but I was just trying to like, just really feel into that red and feel comfortable with it. And I think because of that, people picked it up through the photo.
For sure. You glow differently when you feel really good in your body.
Yes. Yes.
And you show up for your business differently when you do too.
Side note, this is why brand photos are really important.
I am telling you, I had someone tell me, I did my photos with Lauren,
right?
One of the girls we met in our mastermind in 2000, whatever year that was.
Yeah, maybe 19 or 18. Yeah.
No, I think it was 18.
18, yes.
Someone was like, when those photos were the best thing that you ever did for your business.
Yes. Yes. I feel it when I seen them, like, wow, you look really at peace, happy, like you can really connect with that.
I think on that same note, Michelle, like what people buy is a feeling, right? They don't buy if you are selling headscarves, they don't buy a
Yes.
headscarf because Michelle's selling a headscarf. Like
Right.
Michelle's going to talk about the colors that complement her skin and how she
Right.
feels when she puts it on, like the
True.
feeling
The
of
feeling.
wearing things. Yeah. So if you can embody the feeling that you want to feel and also what your clients would feel by working with you.
Yes, makes a world of difference. I felt that a lot, especially
Mm.
when I was new to network marketing years ago, because
Yeah.
some of the people that bought things that I was offering, it didn't really seem like it was a good fit for them, but I think really they bought just because like of me and how I was presenting it and feeling about the product, you know?
Yeah.
And so really I really feel that it's our feeling around even like some we have one coach that's in the mastermind here as well, and it's really about like how you're feeling about delivering that new program that you're offering. And people, when they see that you're really like excited about it and all of this, how it's going to help them, like that feeling attracts more clients to you, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Huge.
So it's like all in all, we're talking about abundance. We're trying to think more abundant so that our income can be more abundant, and shifting our mindset to that more abundant mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, awesome. So what other, so we talked about awareness, we talked about healing, changing our paradigm. What are some other ways that we can really start mastering our mindset around money to attract more of it for us? Because the ladies that are in my group here, they're newer in business. They've been in business just from about a year to 3 years. So they made a couple $1,000s, but it hasn't been consistent. There's been up months, like down months, and they want more of a, you know, like consistent and then growing. So
Sure.
how can they reach that? How can they work on their mindset to start attracting more of that consistency?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it can go really, really deep. But I think so. There's two parts of money. There's like masculine structure, which is like you think about your like Excel spreadsheets, and you have money coming in, you have money going out, and you have everything lined up and ready to go. Like that's your structure side, like the system side of money.
Yes.
And then the feminine side of money is the flow and the ease and the creativity that we get to have.
Yes.
Once our systems and structures are in place.
Yes.
So I know for me, so this is like a lesson from my own life, which is exactly how I create all my programs. I'm like, oh, this is my lesson. Okay, let's go bring this to everybody else who needs to know that, right?
Yeah.
I did not have a good handle on my money personally. I wasn't tracking my income and my expenses. I was spending more than I was making and wondering why I felt like I was living paycheck to paycheck. Like a lot of us will say, how do we stop living paycheck to paycheck? How do we stop doing that? But we actually haven't taken a good look at our finances. So for a lot of people, it is literally sitting down and just breaking down the finances to get a good look at what's your income coming in, what are your expenses going out, and is there money left over at the end of the month? Like it just starts with that simple task.
Okay.
That programs you to be able to look at money in a different way. Like we have to be able to understand it. We have to know how it comes in. We have to know how it's going out, and then see the cracks.
Yes.
So that we know where we're bleeding. Like there's like
and the habits habits that we could be shifting to.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like your basic structure and your masculine part of money. So I like to, and people hate the word budget. So they're like, budget. I don't want to do a budget. That feels restrictive.
Right.
But we're not creating a budget to say you can only spend this much.
Yes.
We're creating a budget so that we can track what our spending looks like and then feel how we feel by looking at that. So say you track 1 month and you're like, oh my gosh, we spent $1,000 going out to eat, and I don't really value going out to eat, so I would prefer not spend $1,000.
Yes.
Let's pull that back a little bit because I feel better about not spending $1,000 of going out to eat, right?
Yeah.
So it's just seeing what we value. What do we love? What do we love to do? What do we desire to do? Where do we have more fun? And then making sure that our spending is reflecting those things
Right. So
Yeah.
I know when we're new in business, sometimes it may feel like we're putting out more than we're getting in. Um, so sometimes it could be hard to evaluate like what is too much. Like say for instance, you're just getting the business going, so you're gonna need websites, you're gonna need this and that and other thing.
Mhm.
Um, and then you may actually hire coaches as well to help you with getting started. You might have a VA to help with different things. So when do you draw the line to saying, okay, I've reached my capacity in spending and I cannot put out any more money. I need to have more money coming in, so how do we have that balance?
That's a difficult question, I
Yeah.
think, because I don't know that there's a concrete answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and again, like every business is different. So
Mhm.
that's a really hard question.
It is. Just because I know it's so true, because I know a lot of women that I worked with before, they was like, I want to start a business, but I only have this much money in my budget. And if I hire someone to build my website, it's going to cost so much more. And another thing I want to talk about is side note, I want to talk about the expensive. Some women always talk about expensive, expensive. Like, how can we reframe that? But
Okay, so
before we
let's
go,
talk about,
okay,
yeah.
want to talk about that right now? Okay.
No, let's talk about the first question that you had.
Okay.
Like, how do
Sure.
where's the cutoff? Like,
Yes, that's what I want to know.
so when it comes to investing in our business,
Yes.
it has to be an F yes. It has to be like a hell yes. This feels really good to me. I feel aligned. Yes, I definitely want a website. I want that out there. I want that to be a main way that people look me up.
Yeah, pictures, branding photos, and things like
Yeah.
that. Hmm.
Instead of being like, well, I see all these other businesses, they have a website and they have branding photos and they have t-shirts that they give to every first customer. Like,
Yes.
we can get caught up in feeling like we need to have certain things.
Yes.
And so I think this question comes back to the values and like what
Values.
we are desiring, and
Okay.
really figuring out what do we actually want to have, not what do we need. Because there have been businesses built on no social media.
Yes.
There have been
Or no
businesses
website.
website. Like, people literally got on horseback and went door to door. We don't need
Yes.
anything to make us successful except for us. Like, you are the cornerstone of your business. So
Yes. Yes.
if
Hmm.
a purchase or an investment lights you up and it feels like it's going to expand you and
Hmm.
you really feel like it's going to help you grow,
Hmm.
look at it. Is it going to put you into poverty? Okay. Probably not the greatest idea. How else can we do something that
Yeah.
doesn't put me into poverty right now? And that doesn't say that it's a no forever, right? Like, we could put it on the maybe
Yes.
let's readdress this and see how we're
Yes.
feeling about it then, and then maybe we add it in.
Yes.
I know that's not a concrete answer, and that's like,
No, that's good. I
yeah,
really like how you said whatever you desire, make sure it feels good to you, and make sure it's a hell yes, like a heck yes type of. When you feel like that, you're moving the right direction. But if it's just like like that, maybe it's not for you at this moment, so we're going to put it on the back burner for right now, and you'll get to it at later time. So I like that. And then
yeah.
also a good reminder about you. Every business owner doesn't need to have a website or have a social media. There's other ways that people done. We can just be very creative to market ourselves and market the business. So I
I
think that
mean,
answers. Hmm.
look at social media. Social media is free,
Exactly.
right? Like,
Exactly.
there have been people who have only built on social
Social
media.
media.
So many free resources available. So
Yes.
anyway, I think it's helpful to just evaluate where we are, evaluate how we're feeling, and really
Yes.
focus on what's going to expand and grow us, rather
Mm-hmm.
than like, I know a website is what I need to grow my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
That's
tough.
great.
In there, like, I'm just thinking about it. It's like, you get a credit card for your business, and you're like, well, I don't
Hmm.
have the cash because I just started my business. So do I
Exactly.
put this on my credit card? How do I know I'm going to make money? Like, these are all questions that I think keep us coming back to that context. And if we can trust ourselves enough to know that the months where we didn't go up, but maybe stayed status quo, are not failure months. They're just where we're figuring out what's working and what's not working. And it gives us an opportunity to then pivot.
Change, right? I love that. So good. I'm even thinking about my own journey, reflecting on my own journey. Yes.
For sure. Like I can think about all the times I've quote unquote failed, you know, and it's like, no, that was a lesson. That was
a lesson. Okay. Good.
Okay. Come back to the other question you had. I forgot.
Okay. About, so a lot of women that I've worked with throw around the word expensive when it comes to, like I know in network marketing, some of the products that we offer, some people on my team were like, well, I feel shy to ask for the people to take a look because it's expensive. Or like some of the people I work with right now with coaching, they're like, oh, my clothing or my service might be expensive. Working with me might be expensive. Do you think this is too much I'm charging? Maybe this is expensive for people. So how do we really figure that out, basically?
So
I don't know.
Expensive is a relative term, right?
And it's funny how we think everyone thinks along the same lines as us. And then, okay, so another question for you later I was thinking about is, when we catch ourselves, sometimes as a mom, sometimes I feel like we're shaping even our kids' money beliefs. And how can we correct this? Because sometimes it's just so in us, even though we know, you know, because I was thinking back to some of the things I tell to my kids, or like, we want to get pizza and this, you know, I'm like, well, we can't this week because this is expensive, or we just, you know, so I want to talk about catching ourselves. Okay.
Because this just happened to me yesterday.
Okay.
My husband and I were sitting at the kitchen table. We were talking, having dinner. The kids were supposed to be upstairs getting pajamas on and all that stuff. My 5-year-old came downstairs in the middle of our conversation and she asked a question about it. And it was like this conversation that like she wouldn't have understood. So what I said to her was, you wouldn't understand. And then I caught myself and I was like, no. And I told her, that's exactly what I said. I said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that you wouldn't understand. I just meant that we were already so deep in the conversation that it would take us too long to go back to the very beginning to bring it up. So that same reflection happens with money. Right? So you're at the store. And your kid's like, I want that. I want that. I want that. First of all, I never asked for anything in my life because I knew the answer was no. But our kids are asking us for all the things. And so when we're thinking about how we respond to it, it's almost like we're allowing them to understand a little bit more. So ask a little bit more questions or putting the choice in their hands. So maybe it's like, can we get pizza on Friday? Well, if we get pizza on Friday, we're going to have to make a choice. So you either decide to have pizza on Friday or you can go to the birthday party on Saturday. You get to choose. But we do both. Because we have to make some choices that make the most sense for. And not using the word expensive or I can't do that or something. Or like, we can't afford that. Right? Like I've heard that throughout my whole life. And so for me, that set me up to be like, everything's expensive and I should buy what I want because maybe we can't afford that. Right. But also being okay with like, maybe you said we can't afford that. And then you're like, ooh, okay, I caught that. Let me take that back. I didn't mean we couldn't afford it. Now let me reword that in a better way. So it just becomes practice. Exactly. I think that's really important. And our kids. Exactly. So in that same breath, let's talk about the word expensive. That's what we're telling ourselves. We're telling ourselves. I'm going to launch this coaching program and I'm going to charge $7,777 for a month of coaching. I don't know. That seems really expensive. We are just reflecting our feelings about that number back at other people. That's what I feel. So we think that's expensive for whatever reason. Maybe it's that we wouldn't spend that amount on coaching ourselves. Maybe we spent it once and we didn't get the results that we wanted.
Yes.
Whatever reason we've made up a story about that number being expensive.
Right.
So we get very caught up in the stories that we have about money, and by healing those timelines. In the same breath, there's also this practice that we can do, and anyone can do it at any time. You can just drop in.
Okay.
I like to have people close their eyes and imagine they're talking to their friend and that they're going to tell their friend, like, they're launching this program. And we start at a small number and we say, how would it feel for you to tell your friend that you're charging $50 for this program? And they're probably going to go, okay, that, like, I can hold that. That feels really good. Okay. How would it feel to tell your friend that you're going to charge $100? And we really go until they feel this point of, maybe we get $3,000 and we're like, ooh, like there's something there.
Okay.
So knowing where like your sticky point is allows you to kind of then go a little bit deeper. Okay, why is this my sticky point? Like, what have I spent $3,000 on that I didn't feel I got worth out of? Why is $3,000 my sticky point? And it is going to be so different for everyone to have to work through, but like just journaling on that number, what that number means to you.
Yes, that's so important. Yeah.
I
love that.
Yeah, peeling back the layers and the things that are associated with that. And then after time, doing that practice allows you to go, maybe next week, you're like, oh, I can hold 3,000. Maybe next week it's 3,010, right?
Yeah.
And you've expanded your mindset a little bit. You've expanded what you can hold and what you feel comfortable with, because you are expanding your mindset about money.
Wow. That's so great. So, so do you walk them? Do you have like a visualization, like recorded, or do you like walk through it with them one-on-one, or how do you do it?
I don't have one recorded, but I will soon. I usually walk through with them one-on-one. Sometimes we do it in a group setting too, but thank you for the reminder for me to get that up and going, because I do want to have that. It doesn't have to be hard, you know, it doesn't have to be like sometimes we think of guided meditation, you have to sit down, you have to do guided meditation, you have to follow the steps, but like just let yourself feel into money and certain amounts. Even if you turn that question around, like can I imagine $10,000 coming into my bank account for one client? Can I imagine that? And if you're like, nope. Okay. Can I imagine $8,000? No. Can I imagine 7? Like, you literally just have to close your eyes and see if you can see it and feel it.
Okay. So it's more like painting an image to see if your course or whatever you're creating is going to align with you and do you feel good about it. Because I was thinking, what's the best way of designing pricing for all the products and services that you have? Like, I was thinking, most people think about, okay, my goal is to make X amount of money. This is the logical mind. And so I'm going to create a course that's this with the goal of, enrolling this many people, so there's that way that most people think about. But then also the feeling part, I think, is really what we're missing. And that's going to help us attract more of those people and feel comfortable when we're delivering the information, marketing it with others.
Like, let's think about this. You do it the first way you said, which is the masculine way, by the way.
Yes.
And that's what the world has taught us to do. Like, that's just how we need $10,000 months. So we're going to have 2 packages and we're going to have clients, and we break it down that way.
Right.
So say you do that.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, so I've come out with, I don't know, 2 $5,000 packages. And now I'm going to go launch my $5,000 packages.
Right.
But when you go to launch them, you're not behind that number. And you're like,
no, it feels icky. Yes.
I know I need this, but like, I'm not sure, right? And you're not going to call anybody in.
No, exactly.
So if you move to the feminine side of that, which is the feeling into the literally, how good does it feel? Like, does $3,000 feel good for this program? Does that feel good to me? Awesome. That's literally what it is. And it has
this is so good.
Nothing to do with what anybody else is charging. What anybody's hourly rate is. It is literally you and your energy, because you can only get behind what feels good to you.
Oh, wow. That's quotable right there. That is quotable.
Behind what feels good to you.
Yes. No, that's so true. Because sometimes we're always looking externally. What are other people charging? You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
you going
I've
checking
done
out.
it.
Yeah, you're researching everyone's things, and it's just that it's them. You don't even know where they are in their journey compared to you. You
Yeah.
know, your material versus their material and their training. So,
Yeah.
what feels good to you? I really like that as a base point for pricing all the things that we're selling, that we're
Yeah.
offering. Hmm.
And it's practice. It's not easy. The first time you sit down and do it, you're gonna be like, I don't know. Like
Yes.
maybe that feels good. I'm not sure. It feels good because I
Yes.
want it, or it feels good. Like it really is just a practice of listening to your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
And trust. Like I really hear you. I really hear throughout this whole conversation is trust,
Yeah.
listening to your body, being aligned. You know, these are all the words that I'm feeling from you and from what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And not living in the past. I think that's huge.
Oh,
It's
yes. Yes. Yes.
like if we live in the past, we're never going to live in the present. We can't. We
Right.
will see all the things that have happened as failure. We will bring them into our current day, and we won't be able to create from who we are right now.
Hmm.
We'll be creating from all these stories of who we were before, which doesn't
Right.
make any sense.
Right.
We're
Right.
different. You're different today than you were a year ago.
Yes. Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that's important too. We're
Yeah.
allowed to change, and in fact, I hope that you do, right? I hope that you
Yes.
expand and grow
Bro.
and become a different person every day, really.
Exactly. And then with that, like you were talking about, when we're pricing our products and programs, that's going to shift as well, because maybe the Michelle 1.0 version felt one way about money, and now Michelle 10.0 feels differently and now is more comfortable with charging X amount of money, you know? So
Yeah, I
yeah.
hired a video coach last year who helped me put out some videos and kind of get comfortable with video.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I saw that your program has a 2.0. You know, where were you when you first launched your program? How much was it when you first launched your program? And I was like, oh, let me go back and look. So I went back and I'm like, oh, the first time I launched my program, it was
Yeah.
$297.
Yeah.
And this time we're up now, we're at 1444. And I'm like, that's just
Awesome. Yeah.
that literally transformation is a visual representation of my transformation that I've gone through with
Wow.
money.
Wow.
My too, right? So it's
Wow.
keep track and like go back. That's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and look at how far you've come.
And that's something that not a lot of us women give ourselves credit for, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if you're a mom.
exactly.
Look how far you've come with children and like keeping them alive and also being a human yourself.
Alive. Well, we stayed alive. Staying alive. Staying alive.
Made it, you know?
We don't really reflect until it's their birthday.
Yeah. Or right. Like, and so instead of that, just like maybe every day you're like, how far have I come since yesterday? What have I expanded on since yesterday?
Yes. Yes. That's a great reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the women in the mastermind are moms, so I'm sure they all could relate to that. So we have to give ourselves credit with our business, even if just little milestones. We need to appreciate and celebrate all of those too, from day to day. Just showing up, you know, when there's chaos all around us in the home is important.
That's one thing too that I've done in the past year that has really changed. It's like being in a state of gratitude more as often as I can.
Yes.
Like, how can you celebrate your day? And maybe that's a dinner conversation every night. And then you go around the table and you're like, what are you celebrating today? I'm celebrating that I tied my shoes. Awesome. I'm celebrating that you tied your shoes. You know, I mean, I have a 5-year-old, so that's relative, but it's, and maybe you're celebrating that you decided on a price that feels really good to you in your body and your program.
Yes.
Like, celebrate that.
Yes.
Then you teach your body how to feel grateful. And when you're in a state of gratitude, you're in a state to receive.
That's what I want to talk about. How did gratitude connect with money?
Yeah. You literally open up your heart to receive from other people. It's about frequency and energy. So, the whole like funny thing of this whole, like my whole life, and again, thinking about like lessons and journeys.
Yes.
So I went to school to become a doctor of audiology, which studies hearing science.
Okay.
So I literally studied the frequency of sound. Okay.
Wow. Wow.
So I know that low frequencies look a certain way, and I know that high frequencies look a certain way. The funny part about all this is that it literally translates into everything that I do now as far as frequency when we're talking about feelings and emotions.
Yes.
So the feeling of anger or frustration is a really low frequency. It's slow, it's
Yes.
this low wave, and it's
Right.
heavy and burdensome, right?
Right. Right.
The feeling of gratitude is this high frequency, and it's like jumpy, and it's
Yeah.
clear, and it's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so
Yes.
even just the visual representation of what the frequency of that word
Right.
looks like.
And I can even hear it as you're saying it. I could hear, you know,
Yeah,
the low
yeah.
and the high. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, I like representation. So you think about a piano, you know, like
Mhm.
left side is like your dun,
Yeah.
dun,
Dun, dun, dun.
yeah. And then your right side is like,
Yeah.
so for me, that's like, just think about how that feels in your body, how it really vibrates your body in a feeling. So
That's true. Yeah.
when you're vibrating at a higher frequency, you allow more high frequency to come to you. And receiving and money is energy.
Oh, I feel it right now, just from us talking. Yeah.
It flows in with so much more ease and clarity, and like,
Yes.
you feel better in your body when you are grateful for everything in front of you. You allow more of that to flow to you also. So
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
It took me a while.
Okay.
One thing that I do every single morning that I promise will help you every day in your life is before you open your eyes and you get out of bed,
Yeah.
5 or 10 things that you're grateful for.
Just writing it down.
Not
just
even
saying it out loud.
Yeah, or even to yourself, just like noticing them and being like, yeah, I'm really grateful that the sun is shining today. Maybe you don't know that yet because you haven't opened your eyes, but
but you felt it.
You felt it, right? Like you felt the sun coming through the window. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful that I have a job, whatever it is. You have to actually feel grateful for it. You can't just like list off a list of things.
No.
But you prime your heart and your brain to be in coherence, like vibrating at the same frequency. And again, when you do that, you emit a certain frequency and you become a magnet for that frequency back. So helpful.
So, so speaking about frequencies and vibration, I always hear about the term money being energy. Can we talk about that a little bit? And basically it's going to echo what you just said, but just like in simple terms so we understand.
Yeah. So if we think about money and like what we actually do with money, it's just an exchange for something that we want. So it literally is a piece of paper or a coin.
Yes.
We're trading it for something that we desire.
Okay.
So we get this desire, we get this feeling, we're like, ooh, I really want that.
Yes.
It's just an exchange. And at some point that money comes back to you too, right?
Okay. Yes.
I have a friend who talks about money unicorns.
Oh, that's interesting.
This will help again with my visuals of like pulling the frequency of money together.
Okay.
So when you spend your money, most of us will be like, oh my God, gas is $5 a gallon and it just cost me $100 to put gas in my car. I can't believe I'm spending so much money on gas. Like, oh, here's my credit card to pay for my gas.
Yeah.
If we shift that and we have gratitude for our dollars and we're like, I am grateful that I get to put gas in my car so that I can go pick up my kids from school. So that I can go, whatever you're going to do, right? There's a meaning in the reason why you're putting gas in your car.
Yes.
So when it comes to money unicorns, literally when we spend our money, if you can imagine your money as a unicorn in your hand.
Okay.
And when you are grateful for it, your unicorns are like, they have this mane that's flowing and these beautiful wings and they're rainbow colored and they're shiny and they're happy, and you brush their hair and you take care of them and they fly out, and then they tell everybody like, Gwen takes such good care of me. So this is, your unicorn is your money. Gwen takes such good care of me, and they tell all their friends, and then all their friends want to come back to you and be like, well, I want to see how Gwen takes good care of me. And then they
Interesting.
come back to you, right?
Yeah.
Versus if we're like, oh, gas is $5 a gallon, you
Right.
have money unicorn that you haven't brushed in a while, and you've like put it in a corner, and the poor thing is dusty. And when it leaves your account, it's like, I am not going
And
back to
there's a
Gwen.
lot of people that, like, even in my own family that I go visit, they're like this. And it seems like, you know how like that negative energy, like, and people want to be on that same boat. Like they want to pull you into that same boat, and it's so easy to be pulled in. But I'm trying my best to stay on the other side of it. You know,
It's like, okay, here's my bubble. My frequency is higher. I'm not going to get pulled into that.
right?
People just want to be validated in their feelings. So when they're feeling crappy, they want to be like, right, Michelle, gas is so expensive. Can you believe how expensive gas is? And I can't believe what the president's doing. Can you believe what the president's doing? Like,
Yeah,
they want to be validated in their feelings, which is why we as humans do
that's
that.
so important. Yeah, that's so true. People want to be validated in their feelings.
Yeah.
And it's not a feeling that you're really feeling aligned with, and that you're really feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like moms, so we can say this here.
Yeah.
There are literally groups, like Facebook groups, that are designed to complain about.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes, I know.
And moms go in there and feel validated because they're like, oh, someone else has the same problem that I do, and they're saying it out loud. So now I feel justified. Like,
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I should have that feeling.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the way it's supposed to be.
No. And so you're saying with money, the more you're like complaining about it or feeling in the lack and speaking it, verbalizing it, when you keep saying that, it's kind of cutting it off for any more money to come flowing towards your way, right?
Yeah.
Versus like
are going away and they don't want to come back.
Yeah. And as you was describing the unicorn, I was thinking about My Little Pony. Yeah.
So maybe it like smells like cotton candy and you've got a little brush for it, right?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah, that's really that helps give me the visual, because I always hear about money being energy, and I kind of understood it, but I needed a more concrete understanding.
Yeah, for sure.
And how it circulates, so like even though you're putting it out, like sometimes like even us when we're investing into like personal development and coaching programs and stuff like that, and you're like, okay, should I invest, should I not invest? But just knowing that there's going to be a return on that investment, and you're going to attract so many more clients because you're going to be up leveling your mindset, your skills, and everything.
Yeah. So if you get to look at that investment as, is this going to expand and grow me?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, then you know that it can only expand and grow for your clients too. So that it's just going to come back around, right? Like it can't not come back around.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Awesome. So I'm just looking, we're almost at 11 o'clock. So is there any like final things that you wanted to share with the ladies here about like maybe a daily practice they can implement, or just something to kind of they can walk away from saying like, wow, like this is, now I know exactly the best way to master my mindset for my business. And Gwen shared like a really good point for us to take away.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah.
Truthfully, remember that you can't master your money until you master yourself. You can't do it. Let me take that back. You can, but you can only get so far. You will stunt your growth if you only focus on that masculine structure, price it for 10,000 because I know I need to make that and I'll get 2 clients at that. Like if we constantly are in that space, we will cut ourselves off somewhere. If we don't turn inward and really start working on ourselves and understanding ourselves, we won't be able to understand money and then therefore create and receive with ease. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And sometimes I feel being an entrepreneur, they always talk about how it's a long personal development journey with an income attached to it. And when we jump on that entrepreneur train, it really it really shows you exactly who you are, because you really have to learn so much about yourself, the good, bad, and in between. And it really puts the spotlight on areas that you're weak in that maybe makes us feel uncomfortable. And so I feel like sometimes that's why people jump off the bus, you know, because like, wow, I didn't know. And so it's so much easier just to work for an employer, you know. But I really feel like being an entrepreneur, it's a tough journey, but it really grows you if you're willing to stay on the ride, you know. And with that, the income comes along as well, because you're working on yourself inwardly, but also helping others through the products and services you offer. So it's really, really interesting and how intricate, you know, entrepreneurship is.
And like, these are things we didn't know we were getting into when we started. We were just like,
Exactly.
oh, yeah, I want to work for myself.
Yeah.
Oh. And it really has been great. And I won't lie, like, there have been days where I have cried in the bathtub too. Like,
yes,
there are still days that are difficult. What matters the most is what you do in between the time of knowing what you want and not having it, and then having what you want. So there's this void, right? Getting what you desire. What you do in that middle space is going to be the most important thing, because that's when most people pack it up and leave, because it can get hard. And that's just coming home to yourself and really trusting. Like, if your context is big enough, the one day that you find yourself crying in the bathroom, let yourself have that day. But if your context is big enough, you'll get up the next day and you'll continue on your path.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This was amazing.